Hello, so today we're going to be going over a Reaper game again. I think the last Reaper game I played, I had like Yone 3, I think, and I was playing more towards like that variation. Today we're going to be playing like almost in its purest form. We're going to play towards a KAYN carry, right? KAYN is really strong. There was a lot of buffs to KAYN. KAYN was playable for like a really long time this set, in many different patches. The biggest problem with Reapers that I had is that there was a Reaper patch that was really fucking strong early in the game, which was like reroll Yone or Heavenly KAYN. And I think that patch, I think there was two patches. I just took the game, like I took a break because it was just like a lot of 3-cost reroll and I just wasn't having any fun. So my general like playing around Reapers is going to be a little bit like, I don't know how to describe it, a little bit less good than maybe some other people. Just because I don't have like all those clocked hours of experience when there was like a really dominant Yone patch, for example. But at the same time, I do have like some comfortability playing around KAYN because I did play Reapers in like off-tempo comps a lot. So that's what this is kind of going to be like. I'm looking at my items here. Whenever you see like glove, bow, tier, I'm always thinking towards Reapers because you can make shred, you can make hodge, right? The other items aren't really great to slam. If I get maybe a rod, I can maybe angle more AP with a shiv. But I'm typically thinking towards like, okay, what AD lines do I have, right? Tier isn't the greatest thing to use on a Kaisa board. It has to turn into a frontline item. I get a sword as well. So I'm thinking to myself, I have good like melee items from these ones just because I can make Hodge, and Hodge is really good. Hodge is a Hand of Justice. It's the glove item. So I'm thinking like I could probably angle Reapers here if I can. I also have a Bruiser start. Typically with Reapers, you're playing 4 Bruiser, 4 Reaper. There's Baboom, which is not that great unless you're playing towards like certain AP lines, which I don't think I have the items for. Going long and starter kit's a bit risky. Freaky Friday is actually one of the best augments that you can pick for Reapers. According to the stats, it's just because Infinity Force is so good on multiple units. And I'll show you over here. The only problem I face right now is that I don't really have a good item holder, right? So Aatrox kind of does some good damage. Rek'Sai would be the best item holder, but I'm worried that like a lot of times if you itemize your 1-star, Rek'Sai is on the final board, so I might not be able to sell the Rek'Sai to get the items off the Rek'Sai. So instead I choose to itemize the Aatrox. I think it'll be a little bit easier to make and put items on this Aatrox. And that's like my main itemization. It's a little bit greedy. I would definitely do a little bit better if I itemized the Rek'Sai here. But I don't want to get into a situation late game. I'm still not sure if this is the right situation. But if I had like an extra Rek'Sai, I would definitely be itemize the Rek'Sai. I could also itemize the Kabuko, but the Kabuko is like even worse than the Aatrox, I think. Because Aatrox can actually do a lot of damage if you give Aatrox good items. Like he's kind of supposed to be itemized more like a carry. He's just really bad at his job if you itemize him as a carry. There are some really niche lines with like 8 Bruiser where you're playing like Aatrox and Riven reroll, which is a possibility. But in this case, it's like I have a thing 1. Here I hit the Rek'Sai, but now I already itemized the Aatrox. So I think here, just know, you know, as much as I was trying to greed a little bit. I think that's a huge mistake, right? You should just itemize the Rek'Sai. I think almost always. Just because like having an upgraded 1-star is a little bit stronger than playing around this Aatrox. I think in this game that's my main problem. Like going forward, it was a little bit greedy, right? But I think going forward, you'll see that as Aatrox gets stuck with items, I never find the Aatrox upgrade, and that kind of turns into like a situation later where I become very low HP. But anyways, in terms of like Augment, Freaky Friday, we'll just like do a little pop in here, right? So the board that you're trying to play is like 4 Reaper, 4 Bruiser typically. So I'll just plug in 4 Reaper and 4 Bruiser, right? And you can see it averages like above a 4. It's pretty good. And then if you go under augments, I think the highest placing augment is Freaky Friday, as you can see right here. It's just really good for item economy. Infinity Force is really, really good for, what's Freaky Friday plus? Do you get an extra Freaky Friday? Oh, this one's just 5-player combats. Okay, this is the late game variation. Anyways, this is very good, right? Obviously not today as really well. Item economy is really good with this comp because if you can itemize everybody, it does pretty good. If you look at Freaky Friday, it has a higher average placing than something like Grim Harvest, which is like the Giga Augment for Reapers in a lot of cases, right? Even Heavy Hitter is a little bit better than Grim Harvest, right? But just to keep in mind, right? Obviously starter kit is like because you guarantee the KAYN, obviously it's gonna be higher, and keepers is also quite good considering. But Freaky Friday is good, and also Little Buddies is good just because it helps out your board. It's like one of the best. So these are the two that you're always looking out for. When you're building your team, you're basically just building 4 Bruiser and 4 Reaper, right? So you're building like this, Rek'Sai, Aatrox. I'm looking for Aatrox. I'm looking for Galio, and I'm looking for Yone and Kha'Zix. So typically what you're doing is you're basically just building a front line. With the Bruisers, basically you get 2 things from playing Bruisers in addition to playing all of your setup, right? Basically you have 4 Bruiser, which Silas is a very good tank, especially when you have 4 Bruiser, and he's very good at like doing extra damage, just being a nuisance. Galio taunts, right? So what he does is he draws the aggro away from your units like your Silas, your Yone, and your KAYN. So if your Silas, your Yone, and your KAYN get a wrap, or Silas, a lot of times you like jumping towards the back line. The Galio Silas pair is really strong because not only does it synergize for Bruiser, it also the Galio can taunt and then take the aggro off your Silas, so your Silas can try and like cheese and kill the carries. And the same thing with like the Yone. The Yone dives the backline, then Galio taunts. If it synergizes very well. Aatrox and Rek'Sai are just in because it gives you Dryad, which can make the Rek'Sai quite tanky, and Ghostly, which helps you do a little bit of extra damage. The Bruiser also helps your melee carries because having extra front line helps them with the melee carries. And then when you're itemizing, you typically can put Infinity Force. So here, like if I'm going with the Ornn item, you can put Infinity Force on KAYN. It's one of KAYN's best items. It's one of Yone's best items, and it's also quite good on Silas. So you can basically itemize whoever you have items for. Of these 3, but basically you're prioritizing having 3 items on each of them, and maybe on Galio. You can also itemize Kindred if you find a lot of Kindreds. Kindred's really good at holding. She's really good at holding like the extra items that like the utility items, right? Like Last Whisper has really good stats on Kindred in this line, just because even though it's not a Kindred item, she just spreads it really well. But if that's like in a very greedy situation, obviously that's why the stats are good, because it means that you have 3 full items on both of these dudes without needing to put a Last Whisper on them. But typically you're putting like Morello and like or a Red Buff, like the things that cause like anti-heal, because she'll hit multiple units, right? That's the little thing. I'm trying to do like the tutorials a little bit earlier in the video, because I had comments of it, so I'm trying new shit out. But I think stage 2 is like really important. This stage 2 was kind of like a given, right? I kind of just got Edge of Night off of Carousel, right? So that was pretty cool. And then over here, I just kind of I lost 2 rounds, obviously, because I'm kind of greeding towards this Aatrox. I really should have itemized the Rek'Sai, but I'm kind of hoping towards that. I'm kind of hoping that if I hit an Aatrox 2, I'll be fine. Edge of Night is also very important on KAYN. It's just the ability to de-aggro, because a lot of times with KAYN's like spinning and wrapping and going everywhere. So having the Edge of Night, just what it does is like at a certain HP threshold, you basically just de-aggro the opponent. It's also really good into this Bruiser setup because, like I said, there's Galio with taunt, but also 4 Bruiser is fairly tanky. So if you can de-aggro your KAYN, a lot of times the enemy carrier will get stuck on one of your Bruisers and will give the KAYN enough time to like get that wrap and get that damage off, right? Which is really important. Here I have the second Infinity Force. I'm not sure who I'll itemize, but I can probably put on like somebody here, one of these 2. It's just this Aatrox is a little bit awkward, right? Aatrox doesn't do that well. This was something I was kind of theory crafting. I'm pretty sure Aatrox 2 is like a really good streak, and I was kind of anticipating that maybe I'll hit it at one point in stage 3. I'm pretty sure I don't hit another Aatrox for like the entire game, and it kind of fucks me over. But that's why I wasn't itemizing the Rek'Sai. It's a huge mistake, but it's very greedy. I've been trying to play a little bit more greedy. I'm trying to like shake up my playstyle a little bit, because I'm always trying to play super reserved, and then like an encounter comes along and I get like giga griefed. So I'm trying to play like, you know, trying to get better at doing what I'm doing, is what I mean to say. Here I have Red Buff, which is pretty good. I basically have all 3 KAYN items. Whenever you're playing towards lines, it's something I don't really like that much about the set. A lot of the really strong augments, like for example like Infinity Force, it's not that good on anybody except Reapers, but it's like really good on Reapers, right? So it's like an enabler. So what happens is it makes it kind of awkward. Here I just put in the Diana because Diana is a pretty good tank unit, and I figured like she can item hold for a little bit. The problem is it's like now it's like if I don't hit a KAYN, I'm just fucked, right? That's my game plan now. And I don't really like that. I usually like to be flexible. I know somebody was asking about a pivot guide. I'm trying to figure out one. It'll probably be out maybe next week. because this week I'm a bit busy. Today's my birthday, if you guys don't know as well, so happy birthday to me. But you know, it's a little bit like a lot of this set, it's like the strongest options that you have is typically to be very like forcing in a lot of your gameplay is what I find. Or like your pivot options only can work with like certain enablers, but you need like a good spot for it. Like for example, if I was playing towards like something else and then I hit Infinity Force, then it would be like, okay, I can pivot into Reapers. Here I'm trying to think, like support items are really good whenever you're dealing with melee carries, because like you have a good chance of hitting like some good items. But in my head I'm thinking Radiant Refractor is probably good, Radiant Edge of Night, and I just go all in towards this KAYN. Lucky Gloves Plus is also really good. So it's between Radiant Refractor and Lucky Gloves Plus. I'm not sure exactly which one is better. I'm gonna check it in stats right now just to make sure here. Because I think Lucky Gloves is good because you can itemize all of your units, but the problem is it's just that I only have one Thieves Gloves and I'm not really guaranteed to get another. I also already used a glove, so like statistically I probably have a lesser chance of hitting another glove, if that makes sense. Right? Because if I'm already got dropped a glove and I used it, it's like, what are the chances that I have a game where I'm getting dropped, like, you know, I know that's not how like stats really work, but I'm just saying, like, you know, a lot of times people say that, like challenger level players that I watch, they're like, if you get dropped certain items, you know, technically, you know, you might not be able to find the other ones. It doesn't look like Lucky Gloves is that high placing with this comp. So Radiant Refractor is a little bit plus delta, and Lucky Gloves Plus, oh, Lucky Gloves Plus is good. It is better than Radiant Refractor. It's hard to say because look, like Lucky Gloves Plus is minus delta, but Lucky Gloves regular is plus delta, right? Because I think it's just based on like statistically if you hit the other glove, right? Like here, I'll show you stats. It's like if I hit the glove or not, right? Lucky Gloves Plus is better. It's like a 3.89, but Lucky Gloves regular is bad. But that's just because like you're less likely to hit a second Thieves Gloves, right? If you can guarantee like 2 Thieves Gloves out of your Lucky Gloves, then it's good. Because you're itemizing 2 whole units, right? But if you're using a Thieves Glove and you're just itemizing 1 unit and your Prismatic Augment is 2 items for 1 unit, right? It's not very good. That's the problem, right? So, you know, I just decide to take Radiant Refractor. Radiant Edge of Night, very strong. Everybody's kind of committed reroll again. I feel like this is a trend now. Every game that I played a lot of these games on stream. So obviously the quality of the video, like I say in most of the videos, is going to be a little bit lower. Also, make sure to subscribe. I think we're like 1 sub away from our sub goal, and it'd be really cool if I hit it on my birthday, you know? So please make sure to like and subscribe if you like this content. Anyways, because I was on stream, I was kind of like playing, like there's obviously going to be like characteristic mistakes, like especially now, like when I'm trying to play like greedy in some situations. I did high roll into the Silas, which is nice, but you know, itemizing these Aatrox, it would have been better just to itemize Rek'Sai, hold an extra Rek'Sai on the side, right? This Aatrox is really doing shit all. I had a lot of faith. They buffed Aatrox a lot, and I was like, you know, in the trenches looking at the stats, and I was thinking like, okay, maybe like an Aatrox 2 as an item carry in this comp would be a good item carry for like the meanwhile. Definitely wrong. Also, I didn't natural any other Aatroxes, which kind of sucks. So it's like, this is just a disaster. Because these 3 items on Rek'Sai, I'm pretty sure I at least win a couple of these fights so that I'm a little bit in a better spot. But the thing is, a lot of people are just sending it with reroll all the time. And I don't know if it's because like too many rerolls happen. Here I'm itemizing Kindred just because I have an extra tier. I could have made I think Protector's Vow is really good on Silas. I think Redemption is also okay on Bruisers. Just in general, it seems like it synergizes really well. We're used to, like, that was always like a thing. I just make the blue buff here because I know that I need to itemize 2 carries in order for this to work, right? I think that itemizing Silas, my item economy is a little bit awkward, right? So I at least here, because I already made the red buff on Kindred, I'd rather like itemize towards 3 items on Kindred. Just to have, like, you know, because when you have multiple items on the same unit, it's really good because they all gain the stats, like it's stockpiles, right? Like if you have like a unit and it gives them AP and then damage amp and then attack speed, like all those things work together, as opposed to like separating your items on multiple units where they don't like stockpile as well. Yorick decreases the shop. Here I'm thinking I should just level to try and save some health. I've been losing every single stage, right? I'm basically not sending it at this point because I want to kind of lose everything, right? I'm already low HP. This streak gold hopefully will make me rich enough. Like, I'm gonna be level 750 gold, so I will be able to like 4-2 it. If I really stressed out, I can also 4-1 it. But will be in a decent spot to like play towards like a win out. So long as I hit a KAYN, right? As long as I find one copy of KAYN, it's a win out. And that's the problem with the Reaper line a lot of the time. It's like you need to find like a copy of KAYN or else you're fucked. Because the 4 Reaper jump, the jump from 2 to 4 Reaper is just such a huge jump in power for the comp that if you don't hit that 4th Reaper, you run into a problem, right? And you might think like, oh, okay, like Reaper +1 is probably good, but the problem with Reaper +1 is that this Kha'Zix doesn't really matter too much to your board, right? You're not really putting anything else into your board. Typically, you're leveling for like a Wukong Morgana, so the Kha'Zix kind of helps because if you don't play Morgana, you just play Wukong, you get heavenly stacks, which like heavenly damage, which is nice for your team. So it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of like a crapshoot. It's hard to say. But anyways, level 750. I'm fairly rich, right? I did lose streak. It would have been a more graceful lose streak if I itemized a little bit better. Maybe I won a little bit. But I had to kind of commit to lose streak in this game, right? Just because I needed to use it to get as much gold as possible, right? If I like sent it after carousel to try and preserve HP here, it just hurts my chance to finding a KAYN, which is what I'm playing towards, right? You want to have enough gold to roll down on level 8 with as much gold as possible, such that you could turn it around, right? This spot is very salvageable. My KAYN items are insane. It's Prismatic Party, by the way. That's why they're all prismatics. If I get a last augment prismatic combat, I'm gonna be in a very, very strong spot. Like, I do have good items. My item economy isn't bad as well, right? Here I'm trying to debating. I want shred, ideally, because I already have anti-heal. So I just commit to making a I commit to making an even shroud just because I think it's going to be a little bit better than making... The other option was I make guard breaker and I put on kindred, but I don't think that's like the most necessary thing to do. This guy's going to be very strong. He's playing bard reroll, but he kind of sent it. He doesn't have that many bards, right? Look, he's level 7, 20 gold, and he barely has any upgrades. I don't even think he had a dude, or what's it called, a Tahm Kench, right? Or he doesn't have like a Tahm Kench 3 or anything like that. But there's a lot of people that are very strong in the lobby. Obviously, like I didn't point out everybody's games, but like the whole lobby, like there's a lot of reroll, and that's like a lot of the reason why I'm losing a bunch of HP, because everybody... Oh, he does have a Tahm Kench 2, my bad, but he doesn't have any. He doesn't have like Tahm Kench 3. What I'm saying is, like, because like everybody's kind of rerolling and hitting 3 stars. You can see even here, this guy had a 3-star Shen. It makes it... That's a lot of the reason why you end up lose streaking. Right? Like when everybody's like hitting hitting their 3 stars because they're rolling early. What option do I have other than just trying to sack to make it? This is the problem I'm trying to figure out a lot of the time. When it's reroll, you're more incentivized to just play a reroll, right? Because it helps you to hit your units if everybody else is hitting their units. If you're playing around a 4-cost comp and everybody's rerolling, you run into a situation, which maybe this game, obviously I played it a little bit bad. I talked about how I itemize as Aatrox instead. Here, there's a Wukong. I have to sell it. I switch all my items. There's an Aatrox in shop, which is really lucky, but I didn't find the other Aatroxes, so I should have already had an Aatrox if you have to be honest. But now I should be Giga stable, right? My items on KAYN are so fucking strong, especially with Radiant Edge of Night, that I'm pretty sure I can just like completely win out here. Not like completely win out, but like my HP doesn't matter, right? I'm 2 lives. I'm definitely gonna skyrocket, right? A KAYN 1 is enough, right? Because with the Radiant Edge of Night, he's gonna heal back to full anyways. So what he doesn't make up for in damage is a KAYN 1. He is 100% going to be stable for most of stage 4, right? I don't expect to really lose a fight here unless I get like unless like one of the rerollers like giga hits within the stage, then I'll probably lose to them. But other than that, I feel really stable, right? This is like the stabilization point. I also have a Sylas 2, right? I hit Sylas 2. You have to hit something, right? I didn't hit KAYN 2, but I hit Sylas 2. This guy, this is a bad matchup. It doesn't matter that he has a bunch of 3 stars. It's a bad matchup for Reapers. So I should be able to beat him anyways, even with the KAYN 1. Or at least I assumed I should be able to. And here, instead of itemizing the Yone, Infinity Force is really good on Yone, but on my roll down, I only hit 1 Yone. I might have missed one. I wasn't 100% paying attention. But this Infinity Force is probably better. It's just better. It's an okay. It's a fairly good item on Sylas, right? And I have a Silas upgraded, so I'm totally down to just put on the Silas. This guy doesn't have that many frontline items. My Silas is going to wrap here, which is really nice. My KAYN is pumping out damage. It doesn't matter that he has a 3-star frontline. As you can see, it's just a really good matchup for me. If I had Yone too as well, Yone is really good at sniping the Lux. The Lux doesn't stun enough because I have the good frontline in order to deal with this, my units basically, right? But that's what I mean. I'm very stable with this KAYN. It's just a matter of finding the KAYN, right? And that's why I sacked so much HP, because I needed to make sure that I was making like full econ. Like I said, the bigger mistakes that I made was in stage 2. My initial decision of who to itemize and stuff like that would have greatly affected my HP, because I'm pretty sure I could have won a lot more fights with the Rek'Sai, and that might have compensated for the amount of gold that I made. But that's just like the thing that I like to mention to people watching. It was very greedy of me. I was kind of hoping that I would just natural a couple Aatroxes and then I would just hit it. Anyways, came to out of nowhere. You know, sometimes God is nice, right? I had a couple really low roll games in the gaming session. I think I played like, I don't know, 6 or 7 games. I went 8-8 and then I like top 4 the rest of them, so that was pretty nice. But just to say, you know, sometimes the games are high roll, sometimes the games are low roll. This guy's going for Kindred 3. I don't even know why he's rerolling Baboom Kindred 3 like with Faded instead of just playing normal Dryads. I'm so confused by some of the decisions in this game, because this guy, like, he went for Yone 3, or sorry, Yasuo 3, Kindred 3, when this guy has an Ahri 3, and he's holding a bunch of Ahris. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who, like, I don't know if there was some other YouTuber that's way more famous than me that released some guide saying that you just have to reroll everything. Like, why is this guy on level 6 rolling for Ahri 3 when there's another guy that has Build-A-Bud Ahri 3 already? And it's not even like it's not even like he committed to it after. It's like he hit Baboom like last. It wasn't like he had Baboom first augment where he's like playing towards Faded Baboom. It's like, would it not be better for this guy to just spend his gold and buy Syndra's? But that's what I mean. There's a lot of people that they're like forcing reroll and they're not in a good spot. I know this guy's spot is like insane because he's like Dryad. He's got a Faded emblem as well, so he can fit in like the Giga Dryads. I don't know what happened to this guy. Did he just FF? Yeah, he just FF'd. What happened? He's like 34 HP, just decided to quit. He's not even like, I don't know. This lobby's kind of fucked, but it's fine. My items are just so good on KAYN is that I'm pretty sure I'm just Giga stable. Like, I have almost Bis KAYN, right? My last augment isn't like necessarily, like, it's Harm Assist, which is, I don't know if it's the best prismatic combat. It says Baboom's really good with Reapers. I wonder why. I think it's because of Kindred. I think that's if you play Kindred 3. Tiny but deadly, pumping up. Yeah, it's usually the attack speed ones. I don't even think Harm Assist is that insane. Yeah, it says it's plus delta. But I think, like, it's fine because even though it's plus delta, it's a combat augment, right? It's better than getting, like, a gold augment. I'd rather just have combat at this point. So it's the best that I could have probably hit. Because I already rolled past Baboom, so I wasn't going to get offered it again. But Tiny but Deadly would have probably been better. But it's fine, right? This game's just gonna always just win out, right? It's just a matter of, like, me being a little bit further behind everybody else, right? I'm 29 HP. And I don't know if I beat the Ahri guy. So the guy that got was Build-A-Bud Ahri 3. And just was able to tempo into, like, 7 Faded. Right? He's 7 Faded. The Ahri 3, if he gets items for Syndra as well, he's basically gonna have, like, a Faded board, but with an Ahri 3. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like when you look at the Faded board and you're like, wow, that board's like really strong, or that board's like whatever. Syndra's also exalted. Holy shit. So that guy's gonna be very fucking strong probably. So I don't think I beat the Syndra player. Syndra's also a really bad matchup for Reapers. The reason is, remember I was talking about how Reapers, like, you dive the backline, you do all this crazy shit, and you like cheese the opponent by killing like their backline and stuff. The reason Syndra is such a bad matchup because Syndra pumps out so much damage. She's like a single target like melter. So a lot of the times, like, your KAYN will jump to the backline, the Syndra will look at the KAYN and be like, nah, and she'll just fucking one-shot it, right? And I have Radiant Edge of Night, which is cool, but the KAYN will like de-aggro, she'll one-shot something else, then she'll look at the KAYN again, she'll be like, nah, and she'll just fucking kill it. You know what I mean? But basically, like, this guy is in such a good spot because he had Build-A-Bud Ahri, Usually with Build-A-Butt, sometimes you hit like something that's really weak and you don't streak. If you hit Build-A-Butt and you actually streak, you convert that into a win so easily, because basically your final board is just the whole board plus a 3-star version of a unit that was already doing a lot for the board anyways, right? So if you think about Syndra, you're pairing Syndra and Ahri, and you're 7 faded. The Ahri is going to do a bunch of damage, even if it was like an Ahri 1, right? The whole point of Fade is that when you get 7 faded, or when you get 5 and 7 faded, it's like all the units do a bunch of, like, they help the board out. They all contribute to the damage. The same like this guy with 6 Sniper, right? When you have 6 Sniper, all the other units, like the Aphelios and the Kog'Maw and the Caitlyn, they all do a bunch of damage as well, right? So when you get like to a point where you are late game, and if like imagine if that guy just had like a Kog'Maw 3 with 6 Sniper, right? It puts you in such a advantageous position, because you basically have an extra like unit that otherwise would do nothing on your board, just doing a whole shit ton, right? That's why I don't think I'm gonna beat the Ahri player. So this might be like at best a second, but that's pretty fine. That's okay considering how, like, you know, I didn't really like roll into anything good late game or mid game. Here my KAYN pathed awkwardly. This guy might also beat me late game, by the way, because 6 Sniper is so strong. As you saw, my KAYN kind of pathed to the opposite side. I really need him to be on the same side as the Ashe. Ashe sniper damage. Ashe is like the main damage dealer. So he put all his snipers on one side here and his Ashe on the opposite side. It's basically like a 50-50, right? If I miss position and my KAYN doesn't go towards the Ashe, then the KAYN could just like kill the Ashe can just kill my KAYN from a distance ahead of time, right? Not having Yone itemized is a problem. A lot of these matchups are really favorable if you have Yone 2 or Yone 3, right? Here I didn't find any Yones, right? So it's like, do I tempo level here? Do I play towards something else? Also, Janna showed up. It's very RNG, but the thing about Janna showing up here is that I'm just melee. So I just wanna Zephyr the front line, so I'm pretty good in what I want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just put one Zephyr on Kindred and then one Zephyr on like Galio. But anyways, what I was gonna say is that Yone is like the main unit that just goes bang and like jumps the back line and like jump scares everybody and kills shit. I have so few Yones that it's not worth it for me to like spend all my gold on level 8 to find the Yone, right? Because I'm not gonna get Yone 3, and I'm not itemizing the Yone, right? I prioed making items on Sylas. I prio making items maybe on Kindred here, because Kindred already has 2 items. This Yone that has 0 items, he's like my last in order to itemize, and that's really bad. Typically you want, usually it's like priority is KAYN, Yone, unless you have like a lot of Yones, then it's Yone KAYN because you're going for 3-star Yone, and then it's like front line and back line and other stuff, right? That's like your item prio order. But because I just never found any Yones, I itemized the Sylas early, so I committed a lot of like my carousel and later items to Sylas, right? And because I committed everything to Sylas now, I still have only a 1-star Yone, right? I could roll for 2-star Yone, it will help my board, right? But I'd rather use that level. I think I will spike my board more by going to level 8. Or sorry, going to level 9 and putting in like a Wukong or some other unit, right? Anyways, I have 1 Zephyr on this guy, 1 Zephyr on this guy. And I'm just positioning it around. As you can see, I'm not greeting Umbral, by the way. In that other matchup, I felt like it was better to put my KAYN and my Sylas on this side just for positioning. Here I'm fighting against, I think, the Syndra player. So I just level for something. Right, I'm going to roll. I hit Galio 2. That's nice. Protector's Vow on Galio. Like I said, I'm not itemizing the Yone because I'm so far behind on Yone. I'd rather just have like a Giga front line. Because the more front line I have, the better off I might be against some of the other players, right? When I have Radiant Edge of Night, right? We want to de-aggro the KAYN and we want them to get stuck on this unit, right? We want them to get stuck on the Galio, right? So like here I was able to Zephyr the Ahri. This guy's getting Syndra items, so it's going to be very hard to beat him in a little bit. My Galio's not dead yet, but look, he gets the taunt off, right? So now the Syndra isn't shooting any of the units that are close to her. She's shooting the Galio, and that's what I mean, right? Sometimes you can work it out like that. I just have way better of a front line now. That's kind of what I'm playing towards, right? When you itemize Galio Sylas, you run into that type of situation where you are, what's it called? You're usually just having the other units basically kill all. You're basically having these units like Giga Tank instead of just you trying to out DPS really fast. But like I said, especially against the sniper and the faded player, you really want to have like it's much better to have the Yone itemized, excuse me. I find a way I don't really have anybody to put in here. I could just put in like another Silas or another Bruiser or something like that. I really want to find a Wukong, but I don't want to overgreed and roll too much. Is this guy really strong? Oh, this guy's Kog'Maw 3. Mythic +1. Oh, this guy actually is very strong. I might lose against this guy straight up. I don't know if I kill this Annie in time. It's actually really scary. Oh, my Silas is doing work. Nice, never mind. This guy too can beat me. This lobby is very strong, right? A lot of the rerollers hit and converted. Oh, I killed him. Nice, thank God. Holy shit, if he got some duplicates off, oh my God, I think that guy beats my ass. Right, this guy is so strong, right? Now he has Ornn 2, right? One of the things that was a saving grace for me last time was that I was able to kill his front line. This guy has Ashe 2 now, right? So I'm running into that problem. I'm holding on to sets because, like a set 2 is fine. I have Umbral in, right? I can maybe play like some kind of 4 Umbral variation here. It's not the greatest, but it's not that bad either. But also it griefs the Faded player, right? The Faded player is one of my worst matchups, and if he gets a set, right, then I have to position around the set. If the set like grabs my unit and just stuns them for a long period of time, like that can be a fight differentiator. So, you know, until I hit like a Wukong or I need to sell these units to make like Econ thresholds or something like that, it's worth it to just hold on to them. Here I just take Adaptive Helm. I just want another frontline item for Galio. And then I take this Irelia. I swap out the way for Irelia because I'm not really going for like Silas 3 or anything. But Irelia is really good at shredding a lot of the units, right? The shred that I have is not on Kindred. I don't have like a Last Whisper on Kindred. I have this Even Shroud. So having well, actually I just flip-flopped out the Irelia. I think Irelia is better here. I'm pretty sure I should just put in Irelia. But I think I guess it makes sense against Ghostly not to put in Irelia because she'll just like proc Ghostly a bunch. Oh, this is gonna be really bad. This Ghostly guy's strong as shit. Yeah, it's a bad matchup. It's just too many Ghostly procs. It has too many 3-stars, so I lose this fight. It might just be a 4th. These rulers really hit hard, right? This guy's level 8. 6 Ghostly with a Ghostly +1, so he doesn't have to worry about something else, right? Like he doesn't have to worry about like playing a random KAYN and stuff like that. So he's able to actually play like frontline synergies. Me, I look at the board, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm really low life. I'm not going level 10. I just have to roll here. I get Irelia 2. Irelia 2 is a great upgrade. If I had a Kindred replacement, I think Irelia with like blue buff isn't that great on Irelia, but the red buff on the Irelia is probably better. Here I'm positioning on this side because of the I'm hoping that I can maybe wrap towards this this Ashe, but I also want majority of my main damage dealers to be as close to the Ashe as possible. Once again, I don't know why my KAYN keeps running this way. It's just he just gets clumped up the way that this guy's front line is really small and I have a lot of front line. But it works out because my Silas just jumps on the Ashe and kills her. Top 3 right now, which is pretty good. I think I'm against this Faded player who's really bad matchup for me, like I said, and the Sniper player, which, you know, it all comes down to if I kill this Ashe before she stacks her Guinsoo too many times, right? I'm trying to fix up my positioning a little bit. You always want Galio to be kind of in front of their main attacking units. So, like, if this guy has Syndra and this on this side, you might want to put Galio here. I'm trying to bait this guy. You never want to put KAYN directly in front of the Syndra. You want Galio to kind of be towards the front of the Syndra because you want the taunt to kind of hit, right? You don't want Syndra to be outside of Galio's taunt range. But you don't want the KAYN to, like, necessarily be right on the Syndra because you don't want him to just die instantly, right? You don't want him to just, like, take first aggro, proc Edge of Night, then he goes a little bit closer, takes second aggro, procs Edge of Night again. Yeah, so I beat the Faded player. It's typically a really bad matchup. Like I said, I built a lot of front line, so it worked out really nice for me. There is a Reaper +1. Reaper +1 means I can just drop Kindred and I can maybe play like Reaper Irelia. I should like Reaper Irelia just does a shit ton of damage, right? I can also I can drop Kha'Zix. I'm not playing Wukong because now I have this Irelia. And I can just play like a duelist, right? So it's Reaper Irelia, and then I want like a duelist probably just to give her like a little bit of attack speed. I'm too far away from Exalted, so I don't think I'm fitting Exalted in. I can also sell these sets now. It doesn't really matter if I have the set. I put in Lee Sin. So here the Ashe is on this side. I'm kind of going with the same position I had before, except I don't have an extra tank unit over here, which might be a problem. But I'm trying to make it so that my KAYN is like unobstructed towards getting towards this Ashe. But anyways, we'll see how this fight goes. I I don't know if I beat this guy. I don't think I get a first here. I'm pretty sure I get a second. So I'm curious how it goes. So KAYN is just up front. Yeah, as you can see, usually in the last couple rounds, my KAYN wrapped awkwardly. But somebody dived on the Ashe. So it made it. Yeah, am I just dead? I'm just dead. Yeah, so what I was going to say here is if we go a little bit further back, right, a lot of the times in the previous fights, it's just a matter of this Ashe Gwinsu stacking, right? All the other fights I fought this guy, my Silas pathed towards the Ashe. And because of that, the Ashe died, right? Or the Ashe was like preoccupied with trying to hit the Silas. Here, too many of my units are getting... Oops, I clicked the wrong... Well, whatever. I wanted to show the end of the fight. Where am I? Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm using the VOD that I have is messed up, so I was using the stream VOD. But I wanted to get to the end of the game just to show the final board. Yeah, but like I said, right? It's just a second. Like it worked out to be a second, but this was like, you know, if you looked at my spot early game, this is what I mean. If you have really good KAYN items, it just comes down to hitting a KAYN, right? If I hit the KAYN, I said it's probably a win out, right? The only guy that beat me, it was a very RNG. It's like very difficult to plan that fight because against this guy, you really want to have itemized Yone, right? Because if I had a Yone that just like dove the Ashe and killed the Ashe, like imagine if I had a Yone 3 that just dove this. I didn't really hit any Yones, right? So I itemized this way, which was really good against the Syndra player, but it was very difficult against the Ashe player. The pathing that my units took, nobody went around the Ashe. The Ashe was just sniping from a distance, and I ended up losing because of that, right? And I lost to, like, lethal, right? Like, perfect lethal, which was really unfortunate, because if I had, like, maybe one more turn or two more turns, if I was a couple more lives, I probably could have converted to a first. But anyways... that's just so to say, right? If you understand really well like what the win cons are of a certain comp, right? If I played my early game a little bit better, this could have been a first. If I played my mid game a little bit better, like I was saying, I was losing a bunch of HP, I could have played a first, right? It might have just been like if I itemized Rek'Sai instead of Aatrox in stage 2, this might have been a first, right? I was able to beat the Syndra player. Usually that's a really bad matchup, but I had like Giga Frontline, which was good. If I had items for Irelia, like if I found a Kindred replacement, I could have put red buff on Irelia, and that might have sniped the backline and maybe make it work out, right? Lots of little things that could have made all the difference here in order for me to like win out on this particular game. But all the same, hopefully this was an enjoyable Reaper game, and hopefully you had fun checking it out. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.